Welcome back, adventurers, to Let's Play Baldur's Gate. Now, when last we left off, we were on our way back to the Nashkel, to the town of Nashkel, from clearing up mines, when we were accosted by yet another bounty hunter, the sixth that we've met so far, by the name of Nimble, who seems to have been hired by the same Tazok who employed Mullahay, the half-orc cleric, to taint the mine supply of iron ore, and thus precipitate in his part of the iron crisis. We also had a rather ominous dream, a second dream in fact, the portents of which have yet to be fully revealed to us. It's still night time, so we'll rest for another 8 hours, and then we shall take our leave. Now there are two more matters to deal with here in Nashkel before we finally say farewell to the fair town. The first is a matter of Joseph's greenstone ring. The ring that we found near the body of the miner on, I believe, the second tunnel of the Nashkel mines. We need to find whatever loved ones he may have who may be worried for his safety, and fortunately I do know where they are. Pretty sure they're in that house there, that small little hamlet to the east side of town, depending on where east is. It is actually not that far, and there's the belching dragon in brighter days, but we don't need to go in there. If we talk to Baldur again, he'll give a rather elaborate, if somewhat embellished, account of our deeds in the Nashkel mines. Apparently people, for some reason people kind of know who we are, but just making sure I'm going the right way there. The people around town kind of know who we are, but
not a problem.
They've kind of forgotten who we are at the same breath. It's a good day for change. The mines have been purged, and that means back to work for a lot of folks. Good news for all concerned. Any word on those responsible? You mean the heroes? Why sure, Rashagast Greyhound was the name I heard. Don't know if it's true or not though. The story gets bigger with each telling. By the time I heard it, the heroes were 10 feet tall and used tree trunks for clubs.
Cool one, sir. Butt kicking for goodness!
Rather odd way to embellish a legend, but to each his own, I guess.
Yes? Not a problem.
There's a small amount of gold in here that I'm sure they hopefully won't miss, and this door is locked. So, oh. Don't mind me, we have a reason to do this. And he's looking the other way, he doesn't seem to mind. Don't worry, we're not breaking and entering. We just want to know if you know the man who this ring belonged to. We do know your mother is asleep, but we want any information on the mines. So your husband was one of the miners, but he hasn't been home for weeks. Perhaps this ring might be his. Indeed it is. Your husband is indeed Joseph, the man we're here to tell you about. We could have seen you before, but
Hello there.
I didn't know you lived in this house, and you wouldn't know if you lived that she lived in this house unless you unless you unlock the door. But yes, we do in fact have his greenstone rune, and unfortunately he did not make it out alive. Have his ring back. Commiserations. And thank you very much for the 800 experience. Much obliged.
With ease.
We'll just leave you in
You
peace
point,
now.
I bunch.
And,
Full plate and packing steel.
I believe we, our order of business is to, finally see if we can locate this, disgraced captain of the guard. By first going up this way.
Butt kicking for goodness!
Now if we go along here, we should be able to reach this area that I mentioned a while back, which somehow you can't reach by going this way, apparently, which is rather odd. But we're here now, and that journey took 12 hours, so probably a good idea to rest, just in case. So we can make camp. We hope that no one interrupts us. That is good. This area is
Full plate
quite large,
and
so we're
packing
going to have
steel.
to be rather cautious. There are many enemies afoot,
Forward march.
such as this lone hobgoblin over
My
here.
blade will cut you down to size.
I want to see if oh, he has 109 gold. Thank you very much. Nope. And a pack of Gnolls.
Oh, my heart's really not in this.
That is the Nope. Get back here. Run away.
Let's talk more
One
fight.
down, 2 more to go.
My blade will cut you down to size.
Once again, I'm really regretting not remembering to pick up Purdu's sword when I had the chance.
Gorion would be proud of your actions.
I only had 1 gold coin.
Butt kicking for goodness!
Let's keep moving ahead, shall we? There might be more Gnolls on the prowl. And if there are, we want to be very careful.
All I wish is to continue my journey. Friends await while I must suffer this tiresome dance. Does the mere mention of Drizzt attract your ilk?
Ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, meet none other than one of the most legendary heroes in the entirety of the Forgotten Realms. He who is known across Faerun as Drizzt Do'Urden, famous Drow Ranger, who I believe he resides in the far north in the lands of Icewind Dale, near the spine of the World Mountains. I don't know what he's doing all the way down here in the Sword Coast, but it is rather fortuitous that we run into such a noble warrior. For those of you who have never read any of R.A. Salvatore's novels regarding this particular individual, then you have unfortunately been missing out. Now, if memory serves, Drizzt has a number of companions up in Icewind Dale, such as the proud dwarven king Bruno, his daughter, the fair maid and probably warrior in her own right, Catty Bree, the kind and strong barbarian known as Wolfgar, and the plucky halfling thief Regus, who has a tendency to get into trouble. The interesting thing to note about Drizzt is that his people, the Drow, or the Dark Elves of the Underdark, and from the city of Mezzo Baron, if memory serves, are out for blood, and they're seeking to bring him to their own dark justice in order to gain favor with the Spider Queen, the goddess Loth, or Loth, depending on which variation of spelling you need. But we will not stand aside while another is in peril. Fight is joined. Let us do battle.
All this chatter is fine, but I've places I'd rather.
And indeed, Drizzt is legend in and of his own right, proving his legend. Because he is known to have a pair of scimitars. I believe Icewind Dale. And Twinkle. I believe that is the last of the Gnolls.
I stand ready with
Don't
ease.
poke Drizzt. It is entirely unsocial.
Well met, stranger. I am Drizzt Do'Urden, and I appreciate your assistance. It is a long enough trip to the Icewind Dale, even without these constant interruptions. I do not recall banditry being of such epidemic proportions in this area. How long has this been so? It was not always thus, and I strive to return peace to these lands, will be my reply. Noble goals indeed, and ones I would hold dear myself. Your struggle will be difficult, for the bandits that I have encountered, being beset at every turn as I am, are no mere vagabonds with blades. The humans bear the style of the Black Talon, and the hobgoblins that of the Chill. Mercenary groups, both of them, and as such it is unlikely that they are the architects of this endeavor. You would do well to insinuate into their ranks and determine their true masters. Difficult but not impossible, and potentially the most fruitful course. This is actually a interesting turn of events. We can actually it could actually be possible to join the ranks of the mercenaries that are being hired by Tazok. Unfortunately, if Tazok learns who we are, then that point would be rather moot, and we would have the fight of our lives. Now, I was mentioning Drizzt's magical scimitars, Icewind Dale and Twinkle. Icewind Dale is a Frostbrand +3, and Twinkle is Defender +5, which glows when enemies are near. Very similar to Sting from The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, although it doesn't just glow against orcs, of which there are quite a lot up in Icewind Dale, if memory serves. Drizzt is also bearing a mithril chain mail +4, which is a gift of his good friend Bruna, as I believe as exchange in helping him regain his throne up in the far north. Drizzt also possesses a companion in the form of a figurine of wondrous power of an onyx panther named Gwenhwyvar, who he doesn't invoke unless the situation is extremely dire, if Icewind Dale and Twinkle can't do the job, as he is only limited to summoning Gwenhwyvar for a certain time, and only certain parts of the day. But Drizzt is almost certainly a far more legendary hero than we ever will be. Although we are somewhat of a legend and on a smaller scale. It's a sage advice which I will heed. Know that I think well of you on your journey. Well met indeed, Drizzt. Also, I should mention that there is a Watcher of the Guard in Candlekeep who claims he can beat you in a fight with both arms tied behind his back. And thus there he goes, off to the far north. Drizzt was quite the pleasant fellow, though I should probably think otherwise if I were ever on the wrong side of his blades. That is very true.
Aye, Bunch. Butt kicking for goodness!
As you notice, whenever Drizzt killed one of the Gnolls, we didn't get experience because he is not a party member. And unfortunately we will not be requisitioning his aid in this matter. Though it is rather curious that, again, curious that he would be here in this far south of the frozen north. And I wonder what Tazok must be thinking right now. Not only does he have the his plans with the Iron Crisis to deal with, but the likes of Drizzt Do'Urden inadvertently possibly ruining his plans.
My blade will
More
cut you
enemies.
down to size.
Trio of war dogs. We should be able to deal with them in short order.
For the fallen!
It will be done.
And I should probably check my arrows just to be sure. Emmerwin seems to be doing okay. I might take a couple of those arrows, but
Butt kicking for goodness!
I don't believe Brage is in this area. I think we still have a way away to get to before we find out where he is. It's raining, but that shouldn't be a problem.
My blade will
An
cut you
ogre,
down
however,
to
is
size.
a problem. Fortunately, Grey Wolf's sword is proving its worth, as befitting of such a potent weapon. Now that we've reached the other side of this area, we can move on. The journey took 16 hours, so I'm going to rest again and hope that we don't get ambushed while we are trying to sleep. And fortunately that was not the
Squeaky wheel
case.
gets the kick!
We shall head along this path and see if we can find a oh, I was going to say that we're going to find a trail, but it appears that there is a ruined caravan here. Probably one of the caravans that have been attacked by the bandits, maybe? It is rather unfortunate. There are apparently the bodies of those strewn around.
You'll feel the sting in my boot if you bother me further.
Oh no, it's not bandits. It is indeed the man we are searching for, the cursed Captain Brage. I'm afraid, Larissa, that we can't leave him be, and unfortunately, thanks to the nature of said blade, his madness won't be leaving him anytime soon. And you are apparently his cousin. Well, Larissa, we will indeed attempt to save him, and hopefully we can do so with the aid of Naylan.
Greetings, playthings. Thou hast found me when I alone could not.
And apparently Brage was standing right next to her, it seems. I pray you have left a trail of crumbs to lead us all back again. The others did not, so they decided to stay. Shall we try to find the way home together? I pose to you a riddle, the answer to which I once knew, but now cannot perceive. Remind me, and we shall all return unto the day. Fail, and stay with me in the dark, forgetting whence we came. It has neither mouth nor teeth, yet it eats its food steadily. It has neither village nor home, nor hands nor feet, yet it wanders everywhere. It has neither country, nor means, nor office, nor pen, yet it is ready for fight, always. By day and by night there is wailing about it. It has no breath, yet to all it appears. Now we have 8 answers to this rather perplexing but well put riddle of Brage's. We can answer with war, wind, the insect, death, the circus, the moon, a bear, an outlaw. Now if we answer correctly, then Brage should, if he is to be believed, regain some semblance of his own sanity. However, if we were to answer incorrectly, I am certain that we would have a tremendous fight on our hands. And if we kill him, we will not be able to bring him back to Naylan for healing. Fortunately, however, I do know the answer to the riddle, which I surprisingly guessed, because there is a big clue to this riddle. A big clue. Do you see the carnage before you? Do you see the bodies? Do you see what Brage has wrought in his wake? That is not just a clue. That is the answer to the riddle itself. So the riddle is not as complex as one might think. Well, the riddle might be complex, but the answer, quite simply, is death. And it appears we have successfully gained his senses for the time being. The end of night, where the light shines unto mine eyes, and I can see clearly once again. What have I wrought? 'Tis horrible, horrible. I will welcome the block that must await me at Nashkel. How could I live with what I have done? Please, thou must guide me to the town that I might pay for my crimes. I fear I can keep my senses only for so long, and I must not be allowed to do this again. Too many good people have lost their lives to me. Please. Well, we promise Naylan. We will see you back as safe as we can. Though I don't see how killing you will help those that have died. We shall take you to the Temple of Helm in hopes that you may be healed. I fear I can do nothing for those I have wronged, whether I live or die, and I still know not what led me to this. It is like a foul presence in my mind. I can only imagine that I have finally succumbed to battle fatigue. Take my weapon, that I might not harm another. Use it if I wish, though I'd rather it be destroyed. Innocent blood on everything. I'd only just acquired the sword. Such a waste this has been. Take me to Nashkel. I can bear this no longer. And off we go to the Temple of Helm.
Gorion would
Greetings,
be proud of
playthings.
your actions.
Thou hast found me when I alone could not.
No, I cannot show my face here after what I've done. Just give me to the guard that I might take my punishment as I should. Do not disgrace me further in front of Helm. Calm yourself, Brage. Helm sees all that he wishes, and knows much of what you do not. It was your hands indeed that did many a foul deed, but it was not your will alone. Intent is vital, and yours was influenced without your knowledge. Justice will be done, but with atonement, not punishment. But my crimes, my family, I do not want to go on. If you are returned to the garrison, yours will be the only willful killing that has occurred about this matter. It would be a waste of your life which, fractured though it is, can still contribute much. Helm will see you through. As for our intrepid friends here, I shall exceed the reward offered by Ublek. After all, it was the same task of bringing Brage to justice. The temple is in your debt for the return of its lost son. I've returned Brage to Nashkel, but to the Temple of Helm instead of the garrison. Hopefully he can atone for his deeds and receive the help that he needs.
Yes? With ease.
Alas, poor Brage.
This group shows promise exceptional.
And I cannot talk to Naylan, unfortunately. But I will do when I reload the save.
Not a
Helm
problem.
watch over thee upon thy quest.
And I believe we do have his sword is in question, the infamous sword. I don't believe we have any other item. Well, we only have those arrows to
Helm
identify,
watch over thee upon thy quest.
which is what I was attempting to achieve. So let us see what this cursed weapon is, and see just what tragedy has been wrought in its wake. A two-handed sword, cursed berserking +3. This is a cursed sword which performs perfectly under every test save the heat of battle. Upon entering combat, the wielder will immediately go berserk, killing everything within reach until either calming down or falling unconscious. A very powerful sword, but one must decide whether or not it is worth the risk. Even once the battle fury has ended, the sword can only be removed via an exorcism using a remove curse spell. A spell very much like the one that Naylan has, because he is a cleric. 1d10 +3 damage and +3 bonus Thaco. And, you know, we could conceivably use this with, Minsk, since, he himself is a berserker. Unfortunately, removing it will, be at the expense of, 500 gold, or unless, we ourselves acquire a remove curse spell, in which case we will not have to do that. And I don't think anyone will want the spell in question. Rather tragic tale.
Cool one, sir.
But it is one that has come to a somber conclusion. So, when we return, adventurers, we shall depart fair Nashkel and make our way to Beregost in search of Tazok's contact Tranzig at Felpost's Inn. As always, until next we meet.